Castle Itter has been called the strangest battle of World War II. As it says in the beginning of the companion guide to this game, if someone told you a multinational force of French prisoners, US soldiers, German soldiers, and Austrian resistance fighters united in battle against Hitler's SS during World War II, would you believe it? I'm going to show you how to play this intriguing game today on Legendary Tactics. If you've played Pavlov's House before, you'll know you'll know a lot of how this game plays. You may even recognize the map looks a little bit similar. So this is Castle Itter, the strangest battle of World War II, which has a mixture of forces, both American, German, French, some Austrians in there as well, that fought a battle against Hitler's SS. And so I'm just going to take a few minutes here to show you how to play, and hopefully you'll give this game a shot at some point. This is the digital edition, and so there's I'll just zip through what the screen covers. So at the top left here, you'll see 1/20, so it's turn 1 out of 20. You need to survive 20 turns in order to win the game, or end the game anyway. You have to in order to it's a game of survival for sure. And there's ways to end the game a little bit earlier, but basically that's the time frame of the game. The red stars are actions, so every turn as the player you have 5 actions. There's 30 suppression markers available, and these 4 zeros let you know how many suppression markers you have in each zone. And if you've played Pavlov's House, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played Pavlov's House, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll explain it a little bit more. There's also the victory points, which is the star, and then the kind of the phase of the game that we're in, and the character that's highlighted. So just a very quick look at the map. You'll see that it's color-coded. And that's to represent the line of sight. So units in say the North Terrace regions, you can see there's a gray line around different regions. You've got North Terrace, Keep, Great Hall, and South Terrace. So a unit in space 2 on the North Terrace is basically, they can see the enemy units that are in the purple spaces. Someone who is in space 1 of the Keep, that soldier can see the riflemen currently approaching from the red zone. There are some zones which are on the corners typically, where you can see 2 zones at once. So that's a very useful spot to put one of your heavier units to make sure they can be utilized as necessary. And the game basically, it almost is like a zombie apocalypse or something. You have these enemy SS soldiers advancing relentlessly on you, and you just have to fend them off for as long as you can. And on the map as well here, before I forget, you've got the gatehouse which is basically a space that also has the ability to shoot at these 7, 8, 9 spaces. So the 7, 8, 9 is actually separate from the beige zone. So units that are, say, a unit in space 5 in the North Terrace can't see that unit approaching from 7 or 8 or 9, or any of those units. Those units can be seen though by Besotten Jenny and the gatehouse. And Besotten Jenny is a tank that is on the property, and so that's a very powerful and useful quote unquote building while it lasts in play anyway. So that's the map. There's also a structural integrity rating. I don't know what else to call it, but you can see North Terrace has 654, and every space, every region has or zone has an infrastructure rating. It starts at 6, so occasionally the SS are going to shoot at one of the zones, and when they do that, if the infrastructure is at 6, they need 6 in order to a roll of 6 in order to degrade the zone. Once it goes to 5, though, they need a 5 or 6. Once it goes to 4, they need a 4, 5, or 6. And that means that it's going to be a lot easier to do some damage, and that part of the castle is going to be very difficult to stay in, because anytime it gets hit and gets breached, essentially, if you see here, like Besot and Jenny, for example, goes 6, 5, 4, 0. Once it goes to 0, everyone in the tank dies, and you can't go to that zone anymore. But a similar fate awaits anyone that is stuck in a zone which gets blasted and doesn't and is at integrity 4. There's going to be some bad things that happen there. So that's essentially the map, and you can see the cast of characters down below here. It looks like it's an endless amount, but it's not. It's just loops around. So just to start with, maybe I'll just start with one of the generic kind of characters here. There's a bunch of capabilities, but we'll just look at Pollock here to start. So Pollock has a 2/3. So what does that mean? So 2 is the number of dice that they roll when they're attacking. So if Pollock is in the keep in zone 1 and can see the rifleman coming from enemy space 4 here, Pollock has 2 rolls in order to get 3 or more. The rifleman's defense value is 3. So Pollock needs a 3 or more in order to get at that rifleman. There's some units with better defense than that. Most units have a 1. So you can see Sutton here is a 1/1. So only one opportunity, only one roll. The number to the right of the slash is the suppression value. So the suppression value is the number of suppression markers that gets placed in their corresponding zone when they take that action. So if Pollock is in that same space in the keep in space 1 and chooses to suppress, that adds 3 suppression markers to the red zone. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, that essentially it's like a preventative roll to stop the SS enemy from entering the map. So it's almost like an attack, but it allows as soon as an enemy unit is attempting to enter, it allows you to roll to prevent them entering. And it's almost like you have to roll higher than their defense. You still have to kind of attack them, quote unquote. But it's really handy because it doesn't take an action to do. So you can slow down the advance of the SS without having to spend actions to do it. You kind of spend that action in advance, and you can spend multiple tokens to up the odds. So that is suppression, and I'll show you an example of that a little bit later. Looking at Gangle, now Gangle is a C character, so that's for command. So once your units take an action, whether it's to move or shoot or what have you, they become exhausted, and they need to spend an action to recover before they can be utilized again. A C, a command unit, can spend their action reviving up to 3 of their friendly units and get them back into the action faster. So it's a very, very useful thing to have as a commander in a zone, because they can revive a bunch of the guys in that zone automatically. The O, actually I'll just skip the O for a second and go to S. So Gangle is the only unit in the game where the S is for sacrifice. So if a French unit, which you can see over here in the cellar, if a French unit is going to it's going to be a casualty, Gangle can sacrifice himself to prevent that, and the French units in this are worth victory points, so that's why you might want to do that. The O is also similar to, if you look here, like Dietrich and so forth, are officers, and that's what the O stands for. Now the officers are linked to these riflemen, which have an M, which means morale. The riflemen, because they have low morale, if they're in a zone where a casualty happens, someone dies, they will run away. They'll leave the game unless there is an O, an officer, to keep them in line. So you're going to want to make sure that the O's and the M's are in the same zone in order to prevent the M's from running away on you. The other, I think this is the last, so last category here is T. T is for tank. And so obviously these are the characters that know how to operate a tank. Can't just stick anyone in there. They have to be specialized. So Besotten Jenny over here on the right, and there's a gun on the gatehouse that was mounted there from Besotten Jenny. They need to be operated by characters that have the T in their title. Now, they may be a command/tank character, and that's fine, but they need to be specialized in the use of that weaponry. So the tank characters, you'll see, if you can see it says the little T's in brackets here. So that's going to be a very useful character to have. Besotten Jenny is a very powerful unit, and or a building, I guess you could say. It's kind of a unit, kind of a building, and it's going to be really important to get the most value out of Besotten Jenny before it gets blown up. And so, yeah, and then there's the French characters here. And the French characters don't have any attack value. They're actually stuck in the cellar at the beginning. And the first 4 turns, all you do as a player is put your soldiers onto the map. And then as soon as all the soldiers are on the map, then the French become available. And they're in the cellar. They can move from the cellar to the Great Hall as an action. And they have a special ability, which is Inspire, which gives the soldiers in their zone a +1 to their rolls and so forth. So the Inspire is very useful. Barotra is a special unit with an E, is the only one in the game with an E. Barotra was a famous tennis player, and in the battle, Barotra escaped and got reinforcements. So the way it works in this game is if you have cleared a color of enemy units, then Barotra can escape as long as Barotra's in a space where he has that line of sight. So if you've cleared away all the units from red and Barotra's in the keep, let's say, in the 1 zone, then Barotra can escape, and that adds a card to the deck called an infantry card, which allows which ends the game earlier. Basically, it gets placed towards the bottom of the deck, and it ends the game sooner, which means you don't have to survive as long. So it's a good thing, because this is a tough game, and it's going to be difficult to survive. So anyway, I'm going to just play through a turn here just to give you an idea of how to play. But that's basically, roughly speaking, that's how this game is played. So we're going to take Sutton here, and we're going to drag him to this box. And in this box, you can see he can see purple and red, so he can shoot at any of those enemy. Now, these are the actions that pop up that are available. So shooting is an option. Attack, that's the red target. The gray target is suppress, in which case he could add suppression markers. Blue is move, so to move around to different parts of Castle Itter. If he has completed an action, he can spend an action recovering and get him back in play sooner. Or, and I don't know why you would do this, but you can smoke your pipe and waste an action. I have no idea why anyone would ever do that in this game. There's just so many precious actions that are so necessary. So Sutton's going to attack, and the digital version here gives you the odds. Now in this case, it's all the same because we need to roll 3 equal. We need to roll 3 or more in order to get the kill. So we'll just, this guy, we got a 5, so we got him. Let's say we want to take Pollock, and I'm going to do some suppression with Pollock, just to show you what that's like. So we had 3 markers to the purple zone. That's going to slow down the enemy entering there. Then I'll take McHaley. Now, one of the things Besotten Jenny needs to do is you need to load the tank before you can fire it. So let's see here. Where is it? There we go. So we got the load action there. So that loads up Besotten Jenny, and then the next person there can fire it. Whoops. Make sure I got the right guy. All right. So we're going to put them there. So you can see these 2 work together to load and fire. The other 2 have their own guns at the bottom half there. So Besotten Jenny can fire their main action. Don't click on the red one. That'll shoot his personal weapon. We want to fire Besotten Jenny. And check this out. Besotten Jenny gets 3 die rolls, and so most of these units, there's a 96% chance that Besot and Jenny is going to destroy them, or 6 suppression markers. Now it's only for the grays. I wish Besot and Jenny could be utilized more broadly, but to slow down units like that and prevent them coming in, that is huge. So I'm going to do some suppression and get some suppression going there. Then while I'm at it, I'm going to load up the rest of the tank. You want to make sure you click on the right unit before you drag and drop. It tends to be a little bit sticky. So this gun here, we're going to shoot there, and we got 2 die, and one of them was over 3. Now we've spent all of our actions, so now it's time for the Germans to draw their 3 cards. And so their first card is to attack the gatehouse. So they get 4 rolls, and remember the gatehouse has an integrity of 6. So, I got a 6. So they're going to degrade. It's a bit loud. They're going to degrade the value of the gatehouse, which is now down to 5. So it's a little bit more dangerous to be there now, because the building's on the verge, closer to collapse. Now a scout gets placed on entry space 12, which is green. We don't have any suppression markers there, so you'll see that the unit advances. And there's another one coming in on space 10. Again, we've got no way of stopping. Oh, sorry, we do. Sorry, that's a gray square. I forgot. So we can spend suppression markers. We've got 6, so you can keep spending them if you want to increase your odds. However, I'm just going to spend, maybe I'll spend 2 just to illustrate. So we spend 2 out of the 6, and that means that we have a 75% chance of blocking this unit from entering, and we suppressed the unit, so the unit did not enter. So you can see how getting some suppression markers down is really, really handy. And there's an attack on the north terrace, 5 dice, and we missed on all of them, so that's great. And then the game continues from here, and so you can let's get a command guy into Besot and Jenny there, and we'll do a command action and revive these 3. Now that won't happen right away that we can use them, but they'll be ready to go once all of our soldiers are placed. So that's how a command action would work. And other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You're just placing your soldiers and shooting and trying to survive. And we're going to try and take out this lead guy here. Oh, we got him. That's good. Now we got an officer in place, so we can put some of these weaker morale units here. Maybe get some more suppression down. And anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of strategy here, but the game itself is a lot more straightforward, I find, than Pavlov's House. So it should be pretty easy for you to pick up and learn, and I hope you do. And I hope this little tutorial walkthrough is helpful in giving you an idea on how the game works. Thank you so much for watching. This is Legendary Tactics.